Right, okay. Here we are. The Taoiseach statement by Francis Butler Yeats here. I mean, I've no clue what to expect, just like Oscars. I mean, with the timing, it's very similar. Like I said, I'm going to draw comparisons between Oscars. I don't think this is what will happen, but it could be. But with Oscar, he announced that he would not be running for a second term. I know Francis has been, from when I've popped my head in general chat, he's been considering it and everything. So, I mean, it has been. I do wonder what this address will be about. I've been told it's important by Kamla, but that's all I really know. And that I was told to stream it. So I guess we just wait for 7 p.m. But afterwards we will have the dual question time, so do not miss that. Um, I mean, yeah, we're just gonna sit here and wait for an T-shirt to come out. But yes, I'm going to speculate on what I think he may be talking about. Um, Again, the only thing that pops to mind is like but it could also be in relation to the recent Oswald case, where that Garda investigation has now happened. So I think there's many things that could be speaking about here. So like I said, we'll just have to see. But until then, I mean, make yourselves comfy. I think it's definitely it's going to be quite important to the nation, I believe. Um, oh, apparently, Antanista, Eamon McGrath will be there too. So, no, not Eamon McGrath. It's Eamon McNamara now. Forgot that. But yes, for those joining in, there will be a speech by Taoiseach. It'll be delivered in just over 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes. So when it does begin, I mean, I'll read it out to you, unless he comes on stage, which if he wants to, it's really go ahead. I don't think he will though. He's not one to typically. Um, of course, Leah, I could never miss an RTE stream for anything. Not for major events at least. Yes, Eamon, I've read out your DMs. But I think it'll be quite interesting to see what it is he has to speak about. Because I personally, I know nothing about this. Again, I've been told it's important, but that's all I've been told. So I think again I did speculate, but I'm not going to keep doing that because that would probably get me in trouble. Um, but like I said, all we can do is wait. I'll still draw parallels between what Oscar did. It was even around this time in the term. I think Oscar did his a little later, where he announced he wasn't going to be running again. Um, but I think with Oscar, you could kind of tell that he was only going to run for one term. But I don't know. I could definitely see Francis trying to run for another term or something. So again, it will be very interesting to see what he has to say. The last time I think Fianna Fáil had a Taoiseach 2 times in a row was obviously back when True Donald, and he announced his. I remember it clear as day because I was there and kept bad mouthing him. But yeah, he was basically saying that he was running for another term. It was quite fun to be there. Those were like Prime Islands days, right after Valorist, where we had True Donald in government, and I could just very vividly remember the stage, and True Donald was up there speaking, and that was when he announced he was running for a second term. Um, I have very fond memories of this group actually. But we're not going to dive into that. So again, I'm just trying to waffle and fill the time here because I don't think there is anything else to talk about. It's very exciting. I'm not sure. No one knows what he's going to say really, apart from a few, I would presume. So I mean, it could be on matters of national security, or it could just be a simple announcement to the Irish people. So it will be very interesting to see what he has to say to the entire nation. But like I said, Taoiseach will be here in attendance. Oh, we have quite a few people over here. We have Will before. I can't remember what he does now. But we also have Leah. She's running in Northern Ireland. Mr. Bruce is May, one of the Fianna Fáil Shanadori. I don't know who the rest of these people are. Um, We also have Jeremy Amara. We also have Oscar over there. However, we are drawing into the final minute where Francis Butler Yeats will be coming out, or yeah, Francis Butler Yeats to deliver his speech to the nation. So, I mean, get ready. We've only got probably like 40, 30 seconds left. And, well, I genuinely am very excited to see what he does have to say here. Again, I remember back when Oscar had his own speech, and I knew about it beforehand, but that's how I knew what to speculate. But here I don't have a clue what's going on. Um, so there must be like 20 seconds or something till he comes out, and I don't know how to fill this time because I don't want to talk over him walking out. So, oh, there's 19. It's at 7 p.m. Will and Taoiseach make his appearance? He's come out to the podium, leaving Tida and Rialtas or something like that. The government building, and where his office is, I think. He begins, "Good evening, God bless you all," addressing the crowd there. Quite a large gathering has appeared by now. And Tanster just beside him, Eamon McNamara. I believe Eamon's actually on leave of absence, but don't quote me on that. "I'm happy to bring all of you together for this address, and I intend not to keep you too long. I would hope not, because the duel is only in 59 minutes. I don't actually know how long Oscars was. I think it's like 30 minutes, so probably won't run into the duel time anyway. But also, Lee, I doubt this is a resignation. I don't see him resigning before the end of his term's even up. Our first address has been accomplished. What I intend to bringing forward this week, and the future of this term, and the question of re-election." So, my speculation was right there. He will be talking about whether he will be running for re-election, I presume. He may be talking about other candidates that may be under Fianna Fáil, other people who may run for Taoiseach under the name of Fianna Fáil. So, and I will point out, I meant the prime days when we had True Donald in government. It wasn't because of him. I just think that era for Ireland was quite a fun one. Whether that was because it was True Donald or not, who knows? I think you can attribute some of it to him, but I wouldn't say entirely. Francis continues his speech again. "I inherited a nation that was on the brink of collapse. Disorder in the streets, chaos and catastrophe lurked around every corner. And yet today we have peace. Today we have stability." I mean, it seems a very long way away from 5 weeks ago, I think, when we had the whole British-Irish thing. Everyone thought we were on the brink of war. But no, very different circumstances now. Very peaceful with the British. There's not as much happening on the streets anymore. So, I mean, this government, I think they did what Oisin promised to do, in the sense that they were going to get peace for Ireland, and they were going to try and gain some more stability. "We suffered one of the strongest attacks on our democratic process in recent memory, and yet we have success. We've dispelled the traitors, we have protected security." And Taoiseach continues there. That would be in regards to the recent investigation against Fine Gael, specifically the leader of the Fine Gael party, Oswald, who attempted to do a coup, which was he was later charged with treason, shortly after he was banned from the group. But that is another situation that Taoiseach has seen over this term, where some politicians ran from the group, where some decided it was too rough to keep going on, where some would simply fall to political machinations and side with the guilty men. We refused. Now, again, I think that is also in relation to the threat against the democratic process. It was quite the shocking. I would say it's shocking because I mean, you wouldn't expect something like that to happen. And I didn't even know you could coup or row nations, but and did that refusal success, with past and anti-corruption measures only dreamed of in the past. We have passed party regulation that will ensure democracy in the processes. We have seen also with Bo, I'm not sure if she's guilty, she has been proven guilty of it, but she was taken. I think something happened, but she was I think she didn't state her new constitution for the Green Party, and that got in trouble. I'm not sure if that trial's already happened, but or whether like she's been cleared or anything. But I think we definitely got quite the gathering here for Taoiseach. I, along with my friends in the government, have brought what we promised when elected. We've brought a republic that is stronger than ever, one of law and order, one of transparency, one of freedom. Again, in Taoiseach talking about some of the accomplishments he's done in this town, we have a bit of the ugly Aaron attending here today. We do have Bo in attendance of this event too. Again, as I pointed out, Leah, Mr. Bruce's May. I've sat and authored over 15 pieces of legislation personally through grueling hours, and more is on the way. Over there, we do have Jeremy Amarja, and Oscar O'Sullivan, the Secretary General to the Oireachtas, and I would assume still Deputy Secretary General to the President. This week, I've tabled an amendment to the Constitution to ban traitors from serving this nation in any role, civil or military. I'm not sure whether this will be considered a radical move or not. It will be up to those in Parliament and eventually the people if it gets there. Not Parliament, the Oireachtas. So it will be up to both the Seanad and the Dáil. Along with that, my friend Mr. Sunday has tabled an amendment to the Constitution to enshrine personal rights and also to move impeachments to 2/3 for judicial officials. Now, something I find quite interesting is these would be, the 2/3 majority needed to. Two constitutional amendments which I know the public supports. The 2/3 to remove a justice or a judicial figure. That is the same amount of people that would be required to impeach, say, the president. So it is quite a large number, and I think even some people would go on to say that it's impossible to reach that number. But I think on some cases like that, I think we can see the electors become quite united in it. Finally, I have worked by hand to transcribe the entire 21 pages of the dual standing orders to finally bring them into the light of 2025 and documentize them so they're easier to amend. So I assume we'll be seeing those soon enough. I'm not sure if they've been tabled for tomorrow. Sorry. They would have had to be tabled before before Friday today. Now he goes on. Now for the future of this term. Yeah, the constitutional amendment will be voted on tomorrow. The two constitutional amendments, and yes, the standing order amendment. Next week, we shall table our business bills, which shall include the creation of the activity office and credits system. In addition to further finalising any legislation from the programme for government. So I think he actually spoke about with the credit system, I think he's adding benefits, so I think Jesse will be celebrating quite a bit here. I don't actually think it's a benefit system, but how would benefits in Ireland even work? Anywho, continues. I will also be looking into another great repeal if necessary. Now, these great repeals were quite infamous under True Donald's term, and I think Mr. Sunday's as well, where loads of bills were just piled into a bill that would be to repeal it. Now, these were very extensive and large bills. I think like 12 pieces of legislation were getting removed at a time. I also wish to impart the protection of voters' rights at the ballot box with a Defence of Democracy Act. No, I don't know exactly what this would entail. I mean, I would think he'd say more, but he might not as well. But I thought we already have protections for voters at polling stations, and of course the Shannon Amendment, which has been reworked privately to better benefit the public. The Shannon Amendment was also quite a hot source for contention with the Social Democrats and the Shannon in general. The dual passed it quite quickly. Finally, the future of my term as party leadership, but the Social Democrats abstained on the constitutional amendment to the Shannon, and it just barely failed with the presidential Shanadori voting no, which created a tie because I think like the Labour Party voted yay. Um, it led to a tie, and Wilberforce ruled no constitutional amendment. So it's quite the interesting event to occur there. I will resign effective immediately as Actarian, okay, Fianna Fáil, and shall open the process of new elections. I have informed the president of this. And this is very similar to what Oscar did actually, where he resigned as party leader, I believe, um, but kept the office of Taoiseach. At least I think that's what he did. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. But that's like I said, I do think that is what he's trying to do here. But I mean, it'd be quite shocking to see him completely resign as an Taoiseach. Yes, I shall be staying on as an Taoiseach for the remainder of on as a Taoiseach for the remainder of the government, along with Cathaoirleach of Fianna Fáil, though I shall resign as Cathaoirleach during the last week of this term. Oh, I see. President. I thought President was their leader. Well, no, No, the Cathaoirleach must be their chair. Which is typically the party leader would get the Taoiseach role. The reasons are simple. I did my duty. I have no need to continue on with my job complete. So it has been announced he will not be running for re-election. Now I'm sure the big question in everyone's mind is who is next for Fianna Fáil. I'm sure some people may already have names. I mean, when it was but again back with Noah, not Noah, Oscar. It was, I think it was somewhat evident that Noah was going to take up the mantle, expressing interest here. But I personally, I'm not in any of the Fianna Fáil discussions, so I wouldn't know if they're anything like that. But we will have to see, where this goes, because he has said he will be hosting elections as soon as possible. I believe there will be contentious elections ahead. Um, it will be one with multiple new faces, one that will trying to reach the heights of my own. Okay, I've missed that. Apologies there. But yes, just to reiterate, and Taoiseach has said that he will not be running for re-election. The absolute strongest personal mandate a person has ever received in this community. Yes, I hope that I'm not the last. There will be 100 other persons vote. I think he was just saying he hopes that there'll be more people who got record-breaking votes. I hope that you all keep God in your hearts. I will now take questions from the public and the press. We'll have to see if there are any questions being asked here. What's Leah saying? No, Bo is just standing on her head, so I can't actually see. Oh. I believe a media candidate has been sprung forward to ask a question to an Taoiseach here. And Taoiseach is on the topic of what more legislation is to come. Um, And I've already taken a look at tomorrow's agenda, and it's quite a lot. There will be quite the amount of votes. The Shannon has a Military Policing Act amendment to vote on. It's actually starting the Shannon. Oh, GMA, we will be tabling the Business Activity Office Act, which shall incorporate most of our promised business reforms, including the credit rating systems. This will come next week. I would assume they're going to vote and discuss the constitutional amendments and the referendum authorization bills together. I assume that's what the Shannon is going to do because they usually do this. Along with our Defence of Democracy Act, which shall be a voter rights act, along with final constitutional amendments. That would be the final legislation of this term. So, for those just joining in, Taoiseach has declared that he will not be running for a second term. I'm not sure if it's a shocking move to anyone. And like I said, whenever I popped in my head into general chat, it was also very divided whether he would or not. However, I'm just looking at the Trello here actually. There's quite a lot of bills awaiting promulgation. Arts councils, hopefully. Maybe a future Taoiseach would want me on the courts again, which I'd be happy with. But I'm also happy to be blissfully impartial in my retirement. So I think that does hint at the fact he will not be endorsing any candidates for the position of leader of Fianna Fáil. But like, it will be very interesting to see who's next, because there's always been this trio, of Francis, Mr. Sunday, and Drew Donald. But now with Francis, all of them serving as an Taoiseach, it does make you question who's next for Fianna Fáil. The next question. We now have a Senador, I believe. Is it the Senador from Mayo? I think. Yeah, the Senador from Mayo. A Fianna Fáil Senadori. He says first off, wanted to say that what an amazing time it has been, and wish you all the best. And Taoiseach, I did have two questions. Number one, can Shinadori run for leadership? Because I'm interested. In most parties, parliamentary party is the one that runs, and then party members are the one that vote. For questions to Taoiseach rather than a party leader, I think this question may have been better off asked in DMs. Anyone can run provided they fit the requirements set forth in the Fianna Fáil Constitution. Great, deeply considering it, thanks. And now my second question. Taoiseach, what advice would you give to your successor? Whoever that may be, maybe me, who knows, I'm crazy. And Taoiseach says, my successor ought to have his own mind, that is what makes a good Taoiseach. Like I said, it will be very interesting. I think this election is going to be a very interesting one, because we have some very capable leaders, sorry. I think we're also going to have a lot of different leaders. This is like the first time Erin's running in an election. I mean, there's going to be a new leader, Fianna Fáil, and there's a new leader, Fine Gael. It will definitely be a chance for Fine Gael to prove themselves. Um, Leah has come forth asking, "Are you running for president of uh of Israel?" And Taoiseach has said, "Wow, Leah, no, I am not." So I don't believe he'll be running for the. He will not be running for Israel president. GMA. But I think Bo has a question. Yeah, Bo has a question. I assume that's the last one. Here. Oh, he said not for president of Israel. Um, GMA Taoiseach Bo begins, and Taoiseach says, "Great to meet you," or something like that. And then Bo says, "Likewise." And now I assume we'll be moving to the question after the formalities. She asks, "Will you be claiming your pension in full?" Quite an interesting question, and I personally be very vital to the stability of this nation. He says full and then some. I'm very interested to see what this credit system will look like, though. Again, I think Jesse has a chance to benefit a lot from it, which is very happy for me to hear. Bo asks, "How large is its pension?" It's ranked by success, so it'll be gigantic. Um, but I didn't realize you could put a number on success. Um, I believe that is all of the questions we have today. Oh, the Director General for Al Jazeera has a question. Oscar O'Sullivan. Yes, I think he's the Director General. Taoiseach, hello. And Mr. Bruce's mail won't be having anyone up right now because we're about to end the stream and I'm not looking to stay here longer than I need to be. Taoiseach, hello. Thank you for inviting us. And of course, for your magnificent support for Al Jazeera against the cronies at RTE. New Clan Chu. Again, Oscar in his natural habitat of LARPing. Of your many achievements as Taoiseach, which are you most fond of? So a bit more of a serious question here, compared to how much pension you'll be getting. He responds with one big beautiful bill act easily. Also asks why such accomplishment, and I assume he'll be answering now. I think the Party Regulatory Act and the ARCO are massive steps to ending political corruption, but I've always favoured the arts personally. Thank you, Taoiseach Butler Yates. I have a deep connection to them, and incorporating aspects of literature and music and the visual arts has always been such an important goal of mine. Now, I do believe that is everything for today's agenda. I think there are no more questions. Doesn't appear to be. Oh no, William J. Perry has got a question. Not William. His name is Jeremy. Sorry, both. The J's. I always get my J's mixed up. Jeremy has asked, "Are you considering a presidential bid?" I'm not sure if. I don't think he said of course to that. He's saying of course to the question. Well, him asking the question. Um, it would be interesting to see some new figures running for president It would also be quite odd because usually these people have been in the community for years. I'm not sure how long Francis has been in. I'm not going to. I've only seen him since like I think a bit later after I joined, but he may have been there way before then. So it will be very interesting to see who's president next. Especially considering I think a lot of the old timers either aren't on it or well have either become president or just aren't on Ireland anymore. The president is a beautiful role. It is up to the people and the representatives to decide whether I am fit for the role. If they believe I am, well, I believe in the will of the people. The people don't pick who run, so will you run? Jeremy asks quite simply. If they want me to run and they believe me worthy of such an honour, then I would accept. Now, we've got to be very careful around this subject because group staff may not be very happy about it. Um, we can't have anyone announcing they're trying to run for president. 'Cause that's how people get hurt. Anyway, I think that's all the questions that are here today. Right, I think that's it. I think that's it. So that was the Taoiseach of Ireland. Just to summarise what he said there. Oh, may God bless you all. God bless Ireland. GMA. So, I mean, just to give a quick summary of what happened there, and Taoiseach has declared that he will not be running for re-election. He has also touched upon some of his victories, his self-proclaimed victories over the past few weeks, potentially hinting at a presidential bid. Um, I believe that is everything. No, I'm not turning the camera away from the Death to UK thing. I'm just moving the camera away so it's a more scenic shot as we leave. But thank you all for watching this very special broadcast. If you were watching the stream, you would have noticed the graphics are different. I think it's a major improvement, and it's such a shame that we can't use these for all the streams. There will also be a special edition of the our actor stream as well, to keep your eyes peeled for that. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your evenings. And if I do not see you for the dual question time, have a